Hey everybody, welcome back to the Economic Eagle channel. Today we're going to talk about something that's super important, and we touched on it the other day, but we're going to go more in depth today, and that is your emergency savings account. So why do we need an emergency account, emergency fund, whatever you want to call it? So life is unexpected, right? So we live our day-to-day lives, everything's going good, then bam, something gets you. Car breaks down, you got to have it towed somewhere, you got all these fees and bills that are piling up, or you own a house and your appliance goes out, your refrigerator stops running. I mean, that's $1,500, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 nowadays. Your washer and dryer goes out, so that's about $500 a piece. I mean, you got all these bills that just hit you out of nowhere, and most of the time, a lot of people are not expecting it. Even if you go to the hospital, right? So if you go to a doctor or something and you got a hospital bill that comes in, or your property tax comes in, or what, just things that people don't always expect, and you got to pay it. So that's why we need an emergency fund. And for that reason, we consider that our safety net. So that money there is ready for emergencies at any time. And that's really good, because we always have, life's going to give you curveballs all the time. And did you know that 60% of Americans cannot afford a $1,000 emergency payment? So that means 60% of Americans do not have $1,000 in emergency fund. That's a shocking statistic, especially with the economy the way it's going right now. If unemployment rises and you don't have something to fall back on, you are going to be short some money, right? So let's go into the two types of emergency funds. So we have two types. You have the initial emergency fund, and then you have the 3 to 6 months emergency fund. So let's talk about it. So I mean, if you start today and you have nothing, we got to get started. And 3 to 6 months worth of expenses is a distant dream. You can't even imagine that. So where do we go from here? So we have to start. So let's go ahead and get $1,000 saved up. It doesn't matter if you got to sell stuff, if you have to do a side gig or something, cut some grass. We got to get people up to $1,000 bare minimum to have an emergency fund. We don't want to go in more debt if our car breaks down, or if an appliance breaks down. I mean, all these retail stores want to push you into a credit card. If you fall behind on that credit card, they're going to come get your refrigerator. They might come get your car. I mean, we can't live in debt. So, all right. So we finally saved up our money. We got $1,000. Now we need to work on getting 3 to 6 months worth of savings, or worth of expenses. So with the Dave Ramsey methodology, baby step number 1 would be the $1,000 emergency fund. Baby step number 2 would be paying off all your consumer debt. So that's kind of where you got to draw the line. Do you want to try and save up money, or do you want to pay off your debt? And I can understand where Dave comes at with this, because it's going to be hard to save up money when you're constantly in debt. So let's go ahead and knock off the debt, right? So we'll knock off the debt, and then we'll work on saving 3 to 6 months worth of expenses. In a different video in debt management, we'll go into how to get out of debt, consumer debt. Your mortgage, that's 15, 20, 30 year mortgage. You can't really get out of that easily, quickly. So that's why we don't consider that in our consumer debt. Consumer debt would be credit cards, car payments, student loans, appliance stuff, appliance loans, or whatever, stuff like that. So that's our consumer debt. So we'll go into that in a different video. But right now we have nothing. We have to get to $1,000 in our emergency fund. So what we need to do is track our expenses. Every dollar counts. So if you can save $1, that's great. If you can save $10, that's even better, right? So personally, You wouldn't believe how much money we waste going out and eating. Taking a family of 5 to McDonald's or whatever, it costs $40 something. I mean, every bit of $30, right? So that's bare minimum. And then you want to go to Subway or something, that's $40 freaking dollars. So again, take your lunch. I mean, it doesn't take probably $5 to make a lunch here at the house. You could probably get by with $2. You get all when you go and grocery shopping, plan ahead, get all your stuff for the week and make your food for the week, right? So you want to track your spending. You want to automate your bank transfers like we talked about yesterday. You want to find a distant bank that's not easy to get to, and you want to set aside $25, $50 a paycheck going straight into that bank account and forget about it. And that's kind of what you're going to do with this whole emergency fund. You're going to set it in a bank account and forget about it. Hopefully that bank account is a high yield savings account earning you 4 or 5% interest. When you do that, you're going to be safe. All right, so then if you're competitive like my wife and myself, you might want to challenge yourself. Like, hey, can I do this in a month? Can I do this in 2 months? Can I do this in 3 months? How long is it going to take me to reach $1,000? And obviously some people's financial situations are better than others, but challenge yourself. Hey, can I do this in a month? Again, sell whatever you got in the garage that you don't use, sell whatever you got in your closets that you don't use. You'll be able to find money. There's money sitting around most times that you can make. So I mean, we always got Facebook Marketplace, you got garage sales, yard sales, Craigslist. I mean, there's ways to sell things and make a little bit of money. So in closing, I hope you learned something from this. It is very important that you do get an emergency fund, because life is always going to throw curveballs at you and you need to be prepared as best you can. And in future videos, we're going to talk about debt management. We're going to talk about how to better prepare ourselves, right? So if you got something from this, you enjoyed it, drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We're going to come back with more financial tips and education in the future. Thank you for joining.